Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday morning. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. And we've got Michelle Young's season of The Bachelorette just heating up, 4 episodes in. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at DNeals, and don't forget to subscribe to this video and like it an odd number of times. And we are inching our way to 50,000 subscribers. When we get there, I got a package I'll open for you guys. Big surprise. It's a big deal. We got Vlogmas coming around. Go to Dave Neal Vlogs to check that out. All right, let's get into it. All right, episode 4. Here's how, if you're new to me, hi, how are you? I wear the flannel on days like today because we need to cut down all the BS happening on the show. So let's get right into it. I take notes, read them back to you. No edits, no jump cuts, none of that. Just me, you, and the recap of the show. And if I look like a newborn bird that hasn't opened its eyes yet, that's because it's really early over here and my coffee hasn't kicked in. Let's get into it. All right, Michelle opens the show mentioning that Jamie planted the seed about her character being questioned. All right, we're putting Jamie to bed. We're burying him. We're putting the dirt on top of the casket of Jamie's Bachelorette career. He's never coming back, right? Well, he won't come back for Bachelor in Paradise. Anyway, she's like, obviously, it's easy to see these big red flags when they come out, but is it going to affect the way she trusts other guys? And it might be, you know, but she sets good, healthy boundaries. I'm sure she'll get over Jamie very quickly. All right, Chris S., short white guy that looks like he does blow in, I don't know what else he looks. He looks like he has a lot of ski pants. Like he looks like the type of guy that goes skiing a lot. Chris S., head over heels for Michelle, literally falls out of the back of his chair. I was like, wow, this is going to be the most embarrassing thing he does all episode. Surely that's wrong. He'll attempt to kiss Michelle and she'll give him the old cheek, the old hit the cheek. You don't get these lips. Tayshia shows up to announce the 2-on-1 dates. The date card says, Martin, let's get love back on track. Olu says that Martin and Jamie were very close, so he doesn't trust him, and we will see. That is interesting. For the producers to know that Martin and Jamie were very close, and then as soon as Jamie's gone, they're like, bro, let's send Martin in. And maybe the producers said, hey, I'm going to need you to mention your relationship to Jamie and that you think he's not a bad guy. I'm not saying that the producers helped him with this storyline, but it is always suspect when the producers will bring in the guy that was friends with Jamie right after Jamie's epic exit. And by the way, yeah, I pronounce him Martin. What do you guys pronounce it? Martin? No, Martin. I don't know. That a lot of people questioned my pronunciation. That's just how we do it in old puritanical New England. All right, they go to the BMW Performance Center. Martin looks like he has a leased BMW car or two. Hey, whatever, take that as you may, whatever that means to you. He has BMW face, all right? The date challenge is to see who is a better driver. I've got a need for speed. You remember that quote? Too bad I drive a old Toyota. So if I ever said it, it'd be like, I got a need for high fuel efficiency and easily replaceable parts, and a car that won't get pulled over by the police. Let me tell you something. My car could literally just have a suitcase of drugs on the roof of it, and it is not getting pulled over by the police. It is so, and they'll steal my car battery. That's another story for another day. After the racetrack, they dust off the standard hot tub and they replace it. Did you see it? They replace it with his horse trough. Did you see that? It looks like they're taking a dip inside a can of tuna fish, but hey, whatever works. How'd they heat that thing up? Are those real bubbles or are they just farting? Martin says Jamie is a hell of a man. So this is where they're getting cozy. They're in the hot tub. They're starting to like canoodle. They're doing all the little poking and probing, type of thing. And then he goes, Jamie's actually a hell of a guy. Bro, you don't need to go there. Fumble on the play. Even Jamie's like, hey, man, yeah, leave my name out of this one. You're about to bum Harrison's. You don't need to bring me up. Michelle goes into teacher mode. She goes, are you questioning my decision to remove him? And he's like, no, well, whatever. No, Miss Young, not at all. Martin says he doesn't cry because his dad doesn't, which is sad and it's a red flag. But at what point, and I get it, in a relationship, you want like a completed person, or at least someone who's slightly evolved, right? We've all dated the person that's just a hot mess. You don't want that. People need to fix their own problems on their own time. But, it's tough when it's like, you grew up with a guy where you couldn't see your dad cry. That's not going to be my kids. They're going to see me cry every other recap. I'm a very emotional guy over here, and I'm okay with that. I don't know when we decided bottling up your emotions was like a powerful thing. But that's like, I remember, like, can you imagine like you graduate high school or you have some big achievement, and rather than getting a hug, your dad just shakes you on the hand. Leave a story if anyone has those dads that like they just could never hug. I do some stand-up comedy about it, how like when I hug my stepdad, he'll pat me on the back, but he won't like hold me. It's like that's the best they can do. They can't get any closer. It's just there's a disconnect in there. They don't want to be gay. That's what the old kids would say. It's like, no, what's gay? No, yeah. And if it is gay, who cares? What's wrong with that, right? I love being gay. Are we all gay? We're all just gay. And that's good too. He overcomes his poor communication and gets the rose. Good for him. Muscle trumps red flags any day. That's what we learned. If you have muscles that are nice enough and beautiful, like piercing, like nice light eye, whatever he's got. What does he got? He's got the buzz on the head. If you look good, you're getting the rose. We're going to get over a red flag. Pajama group date. Let's get into it. Michelle looks gorgeous, and the guys are all dressed ridiculously. Chris dressed as Tom Cruise in Risky Business, slumber party, cotton candy, ice cream sundaes, giant stuffed animals. Oh, anybody else want to eat an edible and just go on this group date? They're like, Dave, why are you here? You're engaged, and you're just like hanging out. You're like, just moral support. Give me some more of those peanut M&Ms and some just making the cotton candy. Oh man, imagine if you ever just went to a town fair and you just saw me rolling up on some cotton candy. Absolutely. I'm there for it. Michelle says the guy, no, hold on. Q. Okay, so we're about to get into what I consider the faux drama. Guys are enjoying themselves, embracing their man-childs too much. Michelle's starting to get angry. Fully 100% fabricated. I changed my mind, folks. They call this a Claire. Not an eclair, but a Claire. This is a Claire Crowley when this happens, when she's like, pay attention to me. Here's what happens. When the show starts, week 1, you got 30 guys, right? Everyone's got to manage their time. They got to wait for Michelle. They have to do all these other things. They have to keep themselves busy. They have to form friendship. They have to do all these things while they wait for Michelle because there's always a line to go see her, right? Well, they're at a popular bar. Michelle's the popular bar. Well, now guys are starting to leave the popular bar and they're still biding their time, and even though they should be striking, they should be going to the bar to get a drink. Does this make sense? Anyway, Michelle says the guys don't want to be rude and steal her away, and that leads to Michelle thinking nobody likes her. So what's interesting about Michelle is rather than getting mad at the guys, she realizes the trigger in herself, and she goes, like in her poem, she says, I was the first one to be picked to play basketball, but I was the last one to be picked for the prom. So she's obviously got a rightful insecurity because she grew up feeling less than, which is terrible to feel that way. But at the same time, good for her to realize that's what the feeling is and end up having a healthy conversation with the guys. Tayshia and Caitlyn introduced the Bella twins of WWE fame. A teddy bear takedown. Michelle is annoyed that the focus is pulled, and then we'll get into all this. Winning team goes to the after party with Michelle. You know how they do it. Meanwhile, Michelle is pulling a Martin and won't let herself cry. She's clearly upset about the date, which I get it. She's like, I'm not going to let myself cry. I'm not going to do it. Because once the flood works open up, it's like, hey, I thought we were having a fun pillow fight. Next thing you know, Michelle's crying in the stands. We don't need that. Meanwhile, the men are preparing for a dick measuring contest known as teddy bear swinging, because the producers know. You put a couple guys there, you give them some tools to try to beat their chests and see who's the bigger man, and they're gonna just, you know what I mean? They're gonna go all full crazy. Cue the pre-fight montage. Grown men in silk PJs swinging teddies. All right, yeah, actually, kind of. The more I watch the pre-fight montage, the more I'm liking it. Yeah, it's goofy, but the whole show can't just be canoodling on a couch. That gets boring. Silk versus linen, cotton versus polyester, whites versus boxer briefs, whiteys versus boxer briefs. Yikes, that sounded. The whites are fighting the boxer briefs. No, the whitey tighties. All right, Nate taking the loss to Will. Nate should have had that. But here's the thing. Nate's also 6'6", and I think he said he's a bad basketball player. So it's look, if you're 6'6" and you're not using your height to your advantage, he could have put his hand on the other guy's head and let the guy swing. You know what I mean? He's so tall. But anyway, Will has beat a few different guys. He beat Pizza Dough Peter, and he's clearly a pretty good athlete there. So not that any of these fights matter. I mean, can you put this on your resume? Yeah, I've had 3 years experience as a junior associate at Barnum's. And then I also did a night of, let's see, does this say teddy bear punching? No. That's a teddy bear wrestling. It's different. See, we don't punch with the teddy bears. We swing them. We swing the teddy bear. Good hip motion. We get the back involved. It involves teamwork. The ability to rise ranks in the organization. What? All right. Let me write your monster.com profile, folks. Let me get you a job. Be out there. Be the worst. Can you imagine if I was a guidance counselor in high school? You know, listen, you don't need to go to college. You need to start a YouTube channel. All right. Excuse me. I'm alive. So it's anyway, it's just funny watching, like, I'd be the guy sneaking some of that hard candy into the arm of the teddy bear, you know, going for a knockout, you know, and they stick a couple quarters in a sock and you're swinging it. I'd be the guy just throwing a couple mounds into the end. So that way you hit someone with a teddy bear, like, that hurt. You're like, yeah, well, you know, there's some Reese's Pieces in there. All right. Got to win at all costs. Hilarious watching the dates last week go from slam poetry to slamming Teddy into each other's chins, fisticuffs all around. Meanwhile, Caitlin's biggest concern is wondering if Chris S. will pop out of his wardrobe. Boop. You know, gotta love Caitlin. She's like, she was like, remember last season when a guy accidentally went boop, boop? When a lady talks about a man's genitalia, but she gets all like, boop, boop, boop. It's the most emasculating thing, and I love it so much. Can you imagine if, like, Jason Tartick's like, hey, baby, let's get into it. And she's like, oh, is it too cold in here? Boop, boop. Oh, you little da-da-da. You know, I love Caitlin. I love her. Never change, Caitlin. Never change. So obviously, Michelle grew up feeling unwanted. We talked about this. Triggered experience. They bring it back. Luckily, she has Caitlin to chat with her about it all. She tells the group date she doesn't feel the guys are reciprocating the small moments she's putting in. She's like, look, I don't need grand gestures, this or that. Just say hi to me. Just give me a nod. Give me a wink. Catcall me if you're on the other side. Hey, Michelle. No, you know what I mean? Obviously, we don't want catcalling here. That is a long-distance compliment, but usually done in a very derogatory way. I think we can all agree. Although, when you're on The Bachelor, maybe a pleasant catcall, like, you know, you need to catcall someone on their emotions, not their physicality. I think that's the key, right? Women, and I'm going to get myself in trouble. Women want to feel loved and sexy, but they don't want to feel degraded. I think this is right. I think I should be teaching this to all the guys. So if you ever feel the urge to catcall someone from across the street, yell attributes that are in the metaphysical, not the physical. So you can be like, hey, baby, you looking like you're going to a well-paying job. You know, something like, I don't know. Olu says it's tough hearing this all from her. I thought she was happy. He goes, I thought she was happy, bro. Welcome to a relationship. You think someone's happy, next thing you know, they're not. You're like, what do you we just went on a nice dinner. I thought you were happy. Well, the way you looked at it. Oh, geez, I ordered breadsticks. I cheated on my carbo diet just for you. What are you going to do? Are we heating up? None of this is written. I've been getting a lot of criticism yesterday about the live streams, and it's like, let me have some fun, guys. Let me have some fun. People go, well, you spent 47 minutes looking at the music. Yeah, I was trying to get in the zone so I could make you happy. What do you want from me? You know? Olu says it's tough hearing that from her. I thought she was happy. Bro, welcome to a relationship. Olu opens up about how his sisters also felt inadequate. He gets a group date rose. So just a good example of finding empathy, finding Michelle's situation, and as a man, not being defensive and be like, man, we're trying, but really listening to what she's saying and how she's feeling inadequate and realizing the reasons she's feeling inadequate growing up in Minnesota as a black woman are something that maybe some other people can't relate to. Maybe if you've moved schools, you've been the odd person out. There's always variable situations where you might feel like the odd person out, but because of the color of your skin, and feeling like you're less than in your own skin, that's something that I'm sure Michelle represents a large portion of people that feel this way. And that's something that you don't want anyone to have to feel. It's a good reason, again, just to be repetitive here, it's a good reason for Michelle to be the Bachelorette, not just because she's charismatic and gorgeous and all these other attributes, but because she represents people that might not have been represented on previous seasons and consistently on different seasons. Rick gets a one-on-one date. This is good. Rick gets a one-on-one date. This is the lettuce guy, the lettuce head of lettuce. Usually someone who becomes a stupid thing isn't that serious of a contender. But like when she took the lid off the lettuce, she was like, y'all got nice eyes. And nice eyes trumps a stupid, opening gimmick any day of the week. They take the tram up the mountain. I've always wanted to do this in Palm Springs. They take the tram right up the mountain, and you go from probably 120 degrees to 75. You know what I mean? I don't know, maybe not that much of a difference, but maybe, they go up top. They do the wish box. They read wishes other people have left and then and then they write their own wishes. Clearly, the wishes they're reading were put there by production to inspire a conversation. I said this before we read them, and I was like, oh boy, this is going to be trouble, because the production, they interview them ad nauseum, so now they're going to put wishes in there that are going to F with their mind. And they know this, right? They had to know this. So that's what makes it unsettling, that they found a note that said, I wish my dad could see the man I have become. Then Rick goes, my dad passed away 3 years ago. And it's like, yeah, we feel bad for you. And at the same time, I'm also like, way to go, producers. They look at the chart and they're like, all right, says here Rick's got issues. His dad passed away. Here, write this exact thing in the let's trigger the hell out of Rick. We need to trigger. Can we trigger Rick? Yeah, okay, it's episode 4. We trigger Rick. Okay, do the wish box. You know what I mean? Ugh. And then as soon as the episode's over, they just rip the wish box out and just throw it in the trash. Just burn their wishes. All right. He said he feels... So it's a very interesting story about Rick's dad. He caught a woman texting his dad, and he saw it on the phone, and he told his mom. And then within a day or two, the mom packed up the house and moved them out. 10 years go by. His dad's depressed, and he says he gets a phone call, or his friend gets a phone call, that his dad was like, couldn't really breathe, and he was on the ground, and then he died. And we don't know what happened, heart attack. I have no idea what happened, how he died, but Rick says he holds that guilt with him. That's a heavy conversation. I'm sure, Rick, if you didn't make a move and your dad took advantage of your mom, and she found out later on, that you would have felt guilt in a different way. Your dad put you in an unwinnable situation, and I think that's the lesson here. And you can still love your dad, and you can still be a great dad and teach you lessons, but we need to stop viewing people as a be all end all. Just like Martin said that Jamie was a great guy. Well, maybe he's a great friend, but it doesn't mean he's a great partner. It doesn't mean he's not manipulative in other ways. He might be a bad boss, a bad business person, a cheater on the golf course. You know what I mean? Anyway, so Rick, the lettuce wrap, accepts the rose. Now we're on to Andy Grammer. He performs Lease on Life. Hey, aren't leases a bad deal? Why isn't it owning life? He's like, I got a lease on life. He's like, well, usually leases take advantage of the consumer, but I digress. Start of the cocktail party. I have a funny Andy Grammer story. I'll have to tell on the live. I did a project once with his wife. Start of the cocktail party. Chris S. calls out the guys. He says, you should give more time to the guys who want to be with you. Yikes. By this point, it's more complicated. I see his point, but I think it's more complicated that guy's not wanting to be there for Michelle. He wasn't on the date that conversation went down, and he was kind of like being chivalrous, which doesn't get you too far in the show, because it's obviously like, because you're trying to win someone over. It's not chivalry for the sake of chivalry. It's chivalry for competitive purposes. Brandon asks to see Michelle first, and then Chris is like, I'll talk to her. And Michelle's like, Brandon asks first, but I'll give you a second. So clearly Michelle's like, don't tell me who you're going to, Clayton says that was out of place for him to address it. Nate says he didn't stop to think that Michelle brought this up to 6 guys, and he wasn't a part of that. Chris S. calls out Nate, saying he was too cocky. Yikes. Chris goes for the kiss. Snitches don't get kisses. She gives him a strong right cheek. Here, kiss the cheekbone, because the face don't want to deal with it. Nate sees Michelle, and then she immediately tells him that Chris brought up his name. Oh boy, immediately. That's how it works. Talk trash, guy, next guy coming, hey, previous guy talked trash to you. Then he leaves, and now you talk trash to me, and I'm going to talk, it goes on and on and on, and that's when the Bachelorette's heating up. Michelle tells Nate, I shouldn't have to light a fire under anyone's ass to want to be with me. Very true. Nate taps Chris on the shoulder. Chris goes, I didn't mean to single you out. And then they have a yelling match in the atrium, which I bet that convo was very amplified. I'm sure everyone could hear what was going on. Chris says he came in on his white horse to save Michelle. And Olu and Chris trade words. Olu and Chris are fighting, and they're trying to see who wants to get the last of it. So then they're aiming, for whatever reason, when men fight, they want to see who can get the last word. All right, cool. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, at the end of the night. All right, sure thing. Okay, boss. All right, sure thing, captain. Whatever you say, chief. All right, big guy. Okay, landlord. It's just back and forth. Anyway, all right. No roses for the poet Romeo and the other guy I'm missing. But starting now, after 4 episodes, we've kind of cut the crew in half. They're going to start. Michelle has a nice reveal. She's like, well, it's the end of my road here in Palm Springs. I'm going to be heading to Minnesota. and you all are coming with me. And they're like, yeah, Minnesota. But they're leaving Palm Springs, a beautiful resort. Like, we're going to Minnesota. I get it. Minnesota's beautiful. Can't wait to see how it goes. Let me know what y'all think. Plenty of content coming your way. If you want extra behind the scenes live streams, go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. Follow me on Instagram @DNeals. Don't forget to subscribe to this video, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.